All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here at the TechWall booth, and we are here with Todd from TechWall. Thanks for being with
Yes,
us.
sir.
All right. And so, first question I want to ask, customer working with you 6 months in, what are they going to see that's measurably different?
Dave, the biggest thing they're going to see is car count increase. They're going to see their dollars per RO and hours per RO increase in that 6 months.
Those are all good numbers
Yes,
to have increased, that's for sure.
What do you think the problem is versus what actually is the problem?
Again, there's usually no organization. Without TechWall, we have no idea where all these 300, 400 tickets are in our shop. What's going on? A customer may call in and say, hey, what's going on with my car? There's no communication on those tickets. And that's what TechWall can offer, is that transparency for anybody in the store, whether it's the client, parts department, the front end, the back end, transparency into that ticket and what stage it's in.
Communication is huge.
Is
I think
key.
it's the biggest bottleneck issue. I think we talk about all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what business you're in, communication's key.
Yes,
you know.
And so, building off of communication, when you're implementing your solution into a dealership, what's usually the breakdown that causes it to fail?
So the way we implement is when a dealer moves forward, I get really involved with the service manager because TechWall is fully customizable. So we have to work through a project binder to get that set up. And again, Dave, depending on how active that service manager is, whether this is his baby or somebody else's baby, if it's not his baby, he can delay that by working with me and filling out that project binder, and that's our biggest delay.
So it sounds like you guys bring a customized process to the onboarding. So you have the solution, but you're fitting it to and adjusting it and onboarding them
For that specific dealer, because even though it is fixed ops, they're all acting a little different, you
They
know.
are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, what is it when it's done right? What does it look like? That's we know software solutions are not going to fix everything, right? There's more pieces that go into it. So what does it look like done right?
That everybody is following the process. That we don't have any outliers trying to not follow the process. I'm not going to do it. We need everybody on board in this process. It's, again, everything has a process, you know, and so we need to follow that process, and that's going to be the winning strategy to TechWall.
And that process for you guys when you're implementing the dealer is you guys are deeply involved, because like you said, it's a fully customized solution. So you guys are deeply involved with that kickoff at the store.
At the store for that whole week, and we usually send a full team, you know, depending on how many techs we got or advisors, we design our team to that size. But so we got a crew working with our techs, working with advisors, and working with parts during that week of training, so everybody's getting touched, and even after we leave, everybody has my direct contact number, and we can always do a individual Zoom trainings, you know, so we don't set it and leave. You're ours for life.
Yeah, that's key to a solution.
It is. Yeah. I would imagine too you're constantly reviewing too, because process change, business changes. So you have to have that constant partnership and relationship to make those tweaks and adjustments, because they're going to get better as they use your solution too.
Yes, they do, and that's another thing. So I'm really, passionate about this, and I want to see these dealers succeed. So when we install this, I'm back at the office and I'm looking at all these dealers that we install, looking at their dashboards, again, making sure they are following the process and communicating with those service managers on a weekly basis, and here's your opportunities and things like that. So, again, even though we leave, we're back in Chattanooga looking at the way they're using TechWall dashboard and following back to that process. And then if we see things out of line and not going right, we communicate with that dealer and make sure again that we're back on that process.
So Todd, we've all heard the stories, right? You talk to a dealer about something and they say, I tried that 2 years ago, it doesn't work at my store. what do you usually find when somebody says that didn't work? What's the real breakdown there?
That they either weren't following the process, or they had somebody that was trying to interject in that process to not make it work.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you work around that? So when you add that process and you have employees that are just not adopting that change, how do you work through that? Because if they're a really good employee, they've been with you for a long time, you want to try to help them, right? So like, how do you guys coach your dealerships to get their team to adopt the change?
So,
I guess that's my question.
I mean, again, you're going to have people that will work with you on training, learn a new product. Then you're going to have others that you're going to run into some resistance with, okay? Depending on that level of resistance, is it time for me to step away and go get a manager and talk to them and say, hey, you got one down here that doesn't, and we're leaving in 3 days, and I've tried to work with this person, and he's told me he doesn't want anything to do with it, so it's time for you, Mr. Manager, to go have a coaching and counseling session with him, saying that I don't care how good you are, this is what we're doing. You don't own this business. This is what we're doing. So sometimes it has to get to that forceful thing, that tough talk.
And so, obviously, we're all here to serve dealers and ultimately serving the customer, right? Because without that, none of us have a business, right? So, what does this remove from somebody's day immediately when they start using TechWall? What does it remove that makes it easier for them to serve that customer?
The biggest thing I looked at, it's wasted time. There is so much time wasted in fixed operations department between a technician, an advisor, parts department, more with techs and advisors walking back and forth constantly in the shop. So that is, with TechWall, that is going to be the biggest thing, is we're going to recognize how much time we have been wasting versus to now we're not wasting this time, we're staying in the bay. Again, allowing me to stay in the bay can allow me to work on 2 more cars, per day as a technician, and then annually for the store. It just adds up,
Yeah, time is a huge thing, and from your message that's been out there, technicians walking is lost time, lost revenue, right?
I always call it walking, talking, smoking, and joking. And there's a lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on.
And if you got a big shop, you got 50 technicians, and they're burning an hour a day. That's 50 hours of labor. What could you have done with that?
Yeah, that's adding a whole nother technician to your shop.
And they don't want to waste that time.
I know.
They want
Right. Just think, okay, I can't take all of it away, but what happens if I could give you 30 hours back into your shop?
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. So, what's the smallest early win that tells you that a store is on track and is going to do well?
Just dashboard performance, and monitoring that dashboard and making sure that they're all using it correctly. And that's immediate. The minute we get back, again, I'm passionate for this, and so I take it to heart, and I want these dealers to succeed with it, and that's
and the dashboard is helping simplify an advisor's day. Simplifies techs and everything.
It simplifies all work in process in that shop.
Excellent. So,
you got it.
Your average store, right? You talked about process.
Yes, sir.
What is your average store overcomplicating?
I think the biggest thing we're overcomplicating is, again, just meeting and greeting these customers properly and doing it right. It's not rocket science. And I always was taught in this industry, sometimes you got to get off your butt to earn a buck.
True.
And that's the thing. It's like when that client pulls up in the drive, get out of that chair, go do your meet and greet.
Yeah.
And then once you do that and present to the customer and roll out a red carpet, they're yours for life.
Right. Yep.
But if you sit there and wait for them to come in, and I mean, I've done time studies on dealerships where I sat in the car for 10 minutes and nobody ever greeted me.
Right.
So
it's like pulling into the drive-thru at McDonald's and then having to walk in to order.
Or have a spot in number 2.
Yeah, right.
So what does doing this right require that software alone can't fix?
set up and following the process. So again, goes back to that setup. If you want this thing to work the way you want it to work, then that service manager and I got to work tightly and set their dashboard up. Their dashboard, not ours, theirs. And so usually if I get that cooperation and that buy-in from the service manager, it's usually lickety-split, and we don't have any, because we thoroughly test huge before we even go out day one.
Yeah, there has to be buy-in.
Yeah,
There has to be.
There gotta be.
Yes.
So, in some cases, I'd rather see the service manager bought into this. This is my idea.
Yeah.
Because I've done a couple where it was a dealer principal idea and the service manager wanted nothing to do with it, and it was just canceled from day one.
Yeah.
Yes.
No matter how good the
Yeah,
solution
no
is,
matter how
right?
good it is,
It's
right.
an ego thing, right? So
Dealer wants this, service manager wanted this, and
absolutely.
right.
All right, everybody, we've been talking with Todd Rutherford from TechWall. Thank you so much
Yes, sir.
for being with us.
Yes, sir.
And we hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Will do. Thank you, guys.